Willow lost everything that day. Her mother and her lover burned alive in a car fire. The newspapers called it an accident. But I knew better. She sobbed like the world was ending, choking between breaths, clinging to me. "You're all I have left," she whispered, but I'd known for a long time that the fire, what they claimed was a tragic accident, was originally meant for me. A deadly little surprise Willow herself had set in motion. It was pouring that night. I crushed my 13th beer can and stared at the blinking red dot on the in-car. GPS? It hovered over the Golden Dragon Hotel in the New District. I didn't need a psychic to guess what was happening there. On the passenger seat, Willow's Chanel chain bag lay open. From its inner pocket, a gold-rimmed keycard peeked out. Room 328, stamped with the Makoto Personal-Training Studio logo. There were even tiny grains of whey-protein powder stuck to the edge. Makoto's no doubt. 3 hours earlier, she casually told me, "I'm taking Sophia to the IMAX showing of Oppenheimer tonight. Don't wait up." She said it while applying the black Tiffany lipstick I bought her, the cherry scent mixing with sandalwood from the tips of her hair. That scent used to drive me wild. Now it just makes me want to vomit. Even with the wipers on high, the downpour blurred everything. But across the street, one floor up, I saw room 328's window glowing softly under a yellow wall lamp. The sheer curtain swayed, lifted by the wind about 30 degrees. "Makoto, you forgot to draw the curtain." Then her voice, Willow's voice. I could hear it through the rain, drifting faintly. I grabbed my Leica binoculars. Through the lens, I saw it clear as day. A bruise on her collarbone. That morning when I asked about it, she said, "Banged it on a yoga ball." The truth? She was banging something all right now, in that hotel room. Raindrops hit the binoculars. I wiped the lens with my sleeve, teeth grinding. "Any progress on that divorce we talked about?" Makoto murmured. Thunder rolled. Willow laughed. "Once that idiot's personal accident policy clears the waiting period, I won't need to divorce. I'll be a widow." I pressed the record button. Then she turned toward the window. I instinctively shrank deeper into the shadows. "There's a reflection," she said, pulling a thin blanket over herself. Makoto laughed. "Who be tailing you? In weather like this, your dumb IT nerd husband? Probably still at the office coding away." The light in room 328 went out. I saved the video to a USB stick, walked back to my car, and tried to fit the key into the ignition, but my hands were shaking too hard. Suddenly, the Bluetooth lit up and blasted that old song. "Will you marry me today?" Willow had set it as my custom ringtone when we first got married. She'd nibbled my ear and said, "This song is perfect for a straight-laced IT nerd like you. Really hits the spot." I slammed my fist against the steering wheel. The horn echoed through the rain. Tune Sweeping Festival was coming, and this straight-laced IT nerd was going to send them both to hell. That night, I smoked an entire pack of cigarettes. Just sat there, lighting one after another, sparks flickering in the darkness. At dawn, Willow came home. She looked exhausted. Without saying much, she slipped the Mercedes key into my suit pocket. "The 4S dealership says there's something weird with the transmission," she said. "Go check it out." She lowered her head to fix my tie. Her perfume had changed cedar. Bass note now, but it didn't mask the faint scent of men's aftershave clinging to the cuffs of her blouse. She added, "I spent the night at my best friend's place." "Oh, and pick up my mink coat from the dry cleaner." I nodded. Pretending is part of the game. Driving across the sea bridge, I felt it. Suddenly, the brakes locked up, the dashboard flashed, transmission oil temp, max. Smoke curled up from the chassis. A sharp burning smell filled the car, but I was prepared. I opened the hidden compartment under the driver's seat and pressed the remote fuel shut-off switch I'd installed last week. That's what saved me. 3 months ago, I found out about Makoto and Willow. I started tailing them. That's when I discovered something else, something worse. Makoto was also sleeping with my mother in law. Sandra. And Willow had no idea. One night, I found a camera blind spot. I watched Sandra jab a syringe into the brake line. She turned to Makoto. "This dose enough to send him flying into the sea?" Makoto smiled. "Plenty. Once he's dead, Willow inherits 3 school-zone apartments and tens of millions from that dead guy's estate. And she's not even your real daughter. By blood. After we get rid of her too, we'll be free." Then they laughed. The police later recovered the damaged brake pump. Forensics found an abnormal amount of dimethyl silicone oil in an aerospace lubricant, used only in Makoto's gym. They weren't just having an affair. They were trying to murder me. There's only one way forward now. Total war. Willow. When you find out Sandra's not your real mother and that she was screwing Makoto too, what kind of face will you make? I can't wait to see it. The first time I met Willow was after the company's server crashed at 3A.M. She was crouched in front of the server room, eating a sandwich. A dab of cream on her lip reminded me of the orange cat back home. I spent 47 minutes fixing the system so she could go home early. You're a tech genius. She smiled. Under her coffee cup, she'd slipped 2 movie tickets in the dark theater. I took her hand. The first time I met Sandra was late autumn 2018. I brought her some Westlake Dragon Well tea. She ran her manicured finger over the price tag and asked, "Mr. Wang's a programmer? Like fixes computers?" Then she tossed the tea into the trash. The splash hit my Zegna shoes 3 months of salary. She used her golden jade cigarette holder to poke at the fish my dad brought from the countryside. A fish vendor wants to be my in-law. She muttered blood seeped from the fishes. Gills and stained her nails. It rained on our wedding day. Willow insisted on a strapless dress. The initials of my name were tattooed under her collarbone. Sandra covered them with a shawl. The MC asked M.E. to kneel and serve tea. As I reached out with the Celadon cup, Sandra pulled her hand back. "Do all the Wam men collect red envelopes on their knees?" she said loudly. Laughter erupted. I looked at my father. He rubbed his chilblain hands nervously, holding an envelope with 8,888 yuan scraped together by selling 3 mu of sugarcane. He said, "Please, in-law, have your tea." He bowed, handing her the cup. Sandra's mink coat brushed his cracked nails. "I heard your village just got internet this year," she said. "No wonder little Juan here's obsessed with Wi-Fi passwords." Even one of the videographers snorted. Willow squeezed my hand under the table. There was a fresh cut on her palm from the photo frame we broke during an argument the night before. She cried then. "Mom's doing this for your own good." Now that wound felt like glass inside me. During the toast, Sandra told the waiter, "Replace everything with Louis the 13th. Put it on Little Wang's tab." I looked at the price. 28,888 yuan a bottle. Willow tried to smooth it over. "Mom, my husband's company just asked staff to invest. He's low on cash," Sandra replied. "So what? You think his salary will ever take off? Keep dreaming. He's like your dad's Doberman. Looks scary, but one tug and he flops." That night, I crouched behind the hotel in the alley and vomited until I saw stars. When Willow found me, my phone was still lit with a message from her mother. "No wedding night for now. Uncle Moo's son is back from Cambridge. Wear the red dress and meet him." Willow hesitated for a long time, but she didn't leave. The marital apartment? I paid for it in full. We were in love in those early years. I worked my ass off so Willow could live better. But then she started going to the gym, and everything changed. Every day, she rode to workouts in Makoto's car, said he was just her trainer, but the dashcam log said otherwise. They slammed on the brakes 17 times along Riverside Road. I found that out while fixing the computer sheet, hitting the video deep on the D drive, full HD, 108op. Makoto's monster bicep was wrapped around her waist, pressing hard on the bruises. His grip, firm and possessive, made my skin crawl. But what really pushed me over the edge, what truly sparked the intent to kill, was the insurance file. Quietly, without a word, Willow had switched the beneficiary on my accidental death policy from spouse to Sandra, her so-called mother. She even slipped the notarized documents into a smart contract file I was coding overnight. Right there, hiding in plain sight inside the blockchain. So now they're getting ready to kill me and cash out everything I built. Yes, it's true. Over the past few years, I've made it. The programs I've written all run positive. My founder shares are worth tens of millions. I finally have money. But the woman I loved is already gone. The very next day, thanks to the Trojan I installed on Willow's phone, I heard them planning again. Makoto's voice was low. Last time the brake failure was just dumb luck for him. I heard the soft tap of Willow's jade bangle on the marble counter. She hesitated. Honestly, if I just filed for divorce, he'd still have to give me half. Makoto laughed. Why settle for half when we can take it all? Let's try the electrified pool this time. I cranked up the gain amplifier. Sandra chimed in. That fool's study safe is fireproof. We need him to open it first. It shares everything else. We get that before he dies. Then, almost. Too casually, she added. Or maybe. We stage a home invasion on a stormy night, Makoto snorted. Or poison him. Give him pufferfish liver. Didn't you get radioactive materials too? Fake a cancer diagnosis, say it was nuclear pollution. Sandra giggled. The more we talk, the wilder it gets. Let's just mess with the car again, she added. He already crashed once. I'll talk him into buying a new Benz. Then we'll do the old switcheroo. Makoto chuckled. He's going to his mom's grave soon, right? Perfect. The whole family can reunite in hell. There was a long silence. Then Willow's voice. Maybe we should just drop it. But Sandra and Makoto mocked her until she went quiet again, saved every second of that audio and sensed it to the cloud. Beside me, the printer hummed as it spat out 3 blank autopsy forms, each matching a method they plotted for me: cardiac arrest by electrocution respiratory, paralysis from tetrodotoxinate charred corpse in an arson fire downstairs, in the basement workshop. Sticks of white phosphorus incense were forming in the 3D printer. The fascia gun was charging. And in a little tank, a pufferfish bobbed innocently. These would be the nails in their coffins. Outside, a patrol car passed. Its lights cast red-blue shadows through the blinds. I swallowed a 4th mint the chill, sliding down like a tang. Sword ready to draw. They picked the wrong nerd to mess with. Those 3 deaths, tailored by me, all clean, all untraceable. But since they still meant to kill me first, I needed to move fast. While they schemed at home, I walked straight into Makoto's gym. No cameras in the locker room. In the 3rd locker he used the inside. Still smelled like sweat salts. Using a pre-made fingerprint film, I copied the keypad code. I slid my modified massage gun into its charger. It held a capacitor, repurposed from a scrap defibrillator, 12 volts, ready to deliver a deadly jolt. More than enough to cause ventricular fibrillation through damp skin. Then I rigged his spin bike, the one only he used. Adjusted the resistor, locked the output to 300 watts, his usual resistance. Inside the handlebars, I added conductive gel behind the heart rate sensors. At exactly 45 minutes in, when he hits VA max, the capacitor pulse will merge with the bike's current. The coroner will rule it a classic exertional myocardial infarction. Not my problem. When I got home, Makoto was already gone. Sandra greeted me with a little smirk. Arms crossed, she said. Let me drive your Benz for now. You go buy a new one, same model. I smiled. Mom, you really do look out for me. Willow stood off to the side, lips tight, eyes flickering. Sandra huffed. A man needs his pride. After all you've done for this family, consider this a treat. I nodded and strolled back to the bedroom. Mother and daughter whispered behind me. Willow's YSL Slim No. 21 lipstick was nearly finished. In the bathroom, I drew 0.3 milliliters of pufferfish toxin into a syringe and injected into a fresh tube of the same shade. 1 gram of that purified toxin can kill 300 people. In microdoses, it causes slow respiratory paralysis. Once she applies it and instinctively licks her lips, the poison will slip into her bloodstream. A shortness of breath will send her to the E. With her asthma history, the doctor will prescribe an inhaler unaware that salbutamol accelerates the toxin's effects. Again, not my concern. Next, I went to the villa's ancestral hall. Before my father-in-law's spirit tablet, I sprinkled white phosphorus powder into the incense burner. Then I used my phone to raise the underfloor heating to 28 degrees Celsius. At that temperature, the phosphorus will self-ignite after 72 hours. The ethanol gel carpet under it, flammable at precisely 65 degrees Celsius. I can already see it. Makoto collapsing mid-session. Gym staff shouting, "Call an ambulance," while flashing a penlight in his unresponsive eyes. Willow in the A, rasping, clutching her nebulizer, rashes blooming on her skin. They'll call it allergic purpura. And me? I'll be there, gently patting her back, offering water, dabbing spittle. From her chin, I can see it clearly. When the phosphorus ignites the curtains, flames will roar. The whole house will turn into a crematorium. Sandra will be dancing in the villa. Her autopsy will read, fire damage, body contorted by heat. Makoto's, sudden cardiac death, no electrical burns. Willow's, severe asthma, death by respiratory failure. Seafood allergy suspected. All of it. Unconnected to me. The only flaw? 3 people close to me dying in the same short window. But I don't have time to worry about that they want. Me dead, and I can't wait much longer. Early next morning, I picked up an identical Mercedes and parked it outside the house. Sandra's eyes gleamed. Lips pressed together, she said, George, this new car is gorgeous. Let me drive it. You're going to visit your mom's grave today, right? Take the old one. Then she added, all sweet, Willow and I are visiting her father's grave. We'll take the new Benz. I stared at the modified Mercedes and gave. A light nod. Willow looked at me, cautious. Are you sure? You still want to drive that car? Sandra frowned and pushed her back inside. I got in and drove off. What they didn't know. I'd swapped the cars the night before. The one I'm driving is actually the new untouched car I only scratched the paint. The vehicle left at the villa is the real new Benz, but I resprayed it. A perfect bait dash and dash switch. Let them fall into the trap they set for me. As I drove toward the cemetery, I heard something strange over the live feed. To my surprise, Willow hadn't gone to her father's grave with Sandra. Makoto had gone instead. In the misty morning fog of Ancestors' Day, Sandra's red Mercedes snaked up Luoyan Mountain Road. Makoto sat in the passenger seat, eyes closed. Slow down, he mumbled. We've got time. Once that crash kills him, everything he owns is ours. Sandra smirked. I want it to be thrilling. She floored the gas. The dashboard oil temperature needle surged into the red zone. The brakes, compromised by Makoto, began to falter, and the same deadly equation they used on her late husband 3 years ago was now repeating. At the hairpin turn near the mid-slope overlook, Makoto suddenly sniffed the air. The dimethyl silicone oil in the brake lines had begun to boil. The steering wheel started to shudder violently. Then came the screech of metal on metal. A gut-ripping sound. Sandra's eyes flew wide just before the Mercedes punched through the guardrail. In that instant, the overheated silicone ignited. Flames roared into the sky. By the time firefighters reached him, it was too late. 2 charred corpses, still locked in an embrace, were pulled from the wreck. When Willow and I arrived at the scene, she stood frozen, whispering again and again. Impossible? Impossible? A traffic police captain stubbed out his cigarette. Accident, he said flatly. 3rd luxury car fire this month, he added with a grumble. People played too hard unbelievable. In the wreckage, Sandra's jade bangle lay strangely intact. The YTC engraving on the inside had been glazed blood red by the flames. Willow kept whispering, Impossible. How could they be together? Until her knees buckled. She curled up on the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. Days passed, and she wandered through them like a ghost. Sandra's memorial was held 3 days after Ancestors' Day. I deliberately wore the charcoal gray suit she always hated. Willow, still dazed, muttered, Mom loved cleanliness. Darling, brush it off properly. When she handed me the urn, her eyes skittered away. Once, she would have ordered me to kowtow. Not anymore. Makoto wasn't family. I had no obligation to cremate him. In the morgue, Willow frowned and asked suddenly, Honey, do you know something? I shrugged. Know what? That a personal trainer was having an affair. With your mother? Come on, I said. Her mouth twitched. Her eyes filled with terror. It was you, she screamed, grabbing the sleeve of a detective's uniform. In the harsh fluorescence of the precinct, her pupils shattered like the windows blown out during the cremation fire. I stroked the burned scar between my fingers. The one she'd given me 3 years ago when she'd accidentally spilled hangover soup on my hand. In the interrogation room. The dashcam audio played on a loop. Sandra and Makoto's sick conversations over the roaring engine. Detective Liu said coolly, peeling Willow's trembling hand off his sleeve, Autopsy found the same class of stimulants in both your mother and Mr. Ito's systems. He tapped a photo of a pill bottle on the table, a Thai elephant logo, imported by Makoto. Willow froze. She recognized it immediately. It was the same blue bottle Makoto had once given to her. No? Impossible? She muttered, shaking her head. Then she backed into an evidence rack, knocked it over, and grabbed a glass ashtray, swinging it at me. I dodged. Shards exploded against the wall like wedding confetti. "You devil! You killed my mother blood! For blood!" She shrieked, her face twisted, body shaking. Detective Liu finally snapped. "Miss Liu, calm yourself." He clicked his pen and slid it into his shirt pocket. "Mr. Wong is free to go." He deliberately left the closure report on the table. The last page, marked in red ink, circled the fire investigation note. Ethanol gel carpet's ignition temperature lowered by moisture. Static discharge cannot be ruled out. As I walked past, Willow clutched my pant leg. She whispered, "If I'd been in that car, I'd be the one dead, right?" I lifted her up gently. "You're my wife. I would never let you die. Be good, we still have a lifetime ahead of us." She backed away slowly, staring at me like I was a monster. Sandra had left behind almost nothing. The inheritance from Willow's father? Blown on Makoto. For years, they'd leached off me like parasites. If Willow left me now, she'd have nothing. She followed me home, trembling. "I'm the stupidest woman alive," she said bitterly. I nodded and turned on the TV. There it was, everything. The hotel room tryst with Makoto. The recordings of them plotting my murder. Sandra whispering. Makoto smirking. Willow's eyes went wide in disbelief. I raised my hands. "Pretty foolish, right? You're not even Sandra's biological daughter." Her breath caught. "My investigation showed you're your father's child. Your real mother died in an accident. Sandra moved in when you were 2. Couldn't bear children of her own. She twisted herself into your life like a vine choking a tree." She dropped to the floor, sobbing. "She and Makoto killed your father, then had Makoto seduce you, so they could kill us both and take everything." Clutching my leg, she cried, "Honey, I was wrong." My greed. It clouded me. They scared me into it. I never meant to hurt you. Please forgive me. I just smiled. She began to kowtow. Over and over. "Don't leave me. Please don't hurt me." I gently stroked her hair. "I love you so much. Why would I hurt you? We've got a lifetime of fun ahead." She stared at me, trying to understand what I meant, but she couldn't. I smiled again. Letting her live in guilt and terror that was far crueler than death. Placed Makoto's urn on the dining table. Right in the center, Willow's jade bangle clinked against her bowl. She stared at the floating specks of protein powder in her kanji scrapings I'd swept up from Makoto's gym bag. "The registry office opens at 9, I said. "Shall we go file for divorce?" Scooping a spoonful from the urn, I sprinkled it into her bowl. This was the 37th time I proposed divorce. Her tears landed on her wristwatch right at the 9 o'clock mark. "Husband, I was wrong," she whispered, clutching my sleeve. Her nails dug into the burn scar from 3 years ago. I pulled away and tipped the urn powder spilled onto her slippers. The living room camera, hidden in her vanity mirror, caught it all. Right in front of the live feed, I tore open her collar and bit the collarbone, the same place Makoto had marked. "See if Makoto can feel that too," I said. She convulsed in front of the monitor. Incense smoke curled upward. Sandra's memorial photo on the table seemed to smile. Day by day, Willow withered. Yellow blotches spread across her face. Her body grew bloated. Strangers stared at her in the street. Night by night, she scrubbed at phantom bite marks until she dropped to her knees. "Please, husband, send me to a psychiatric hospital," she begged. "I can't take it. I really can't." I opened the safe. Inside 100 unsigned divorce papers. She shrieked and ripped them to pieces. The night I canceled her credit cards, I soaked copies of Sandra's will in bleach and spread them in the bathtub. She sat staring, stunned as I said, 37,000 yuan. "That's the coffin fund your mom left for you." I turned on the whirlpool. The water rose, covering the burn scar on her chest, the same one she got from her failed self-immolation. On winter solstice, we sat aboard the anniversary yacht down above. U.S. A sky-projected video replayed her and Makoto, tangled in that car. The jade bangle on her wrist caught the light flashing a harlot's Morse code. "Let's divorce," I said for the 200th time. She lunged for the propeller. I yanked her back. She laughed, high and crazed, like a child who found a toy. "Husband, you can't bear to. You haven't played me to death yet." The night I married into the Liu family, 2-year-old Willow sat in the middle of the bridal bed, holding a baby bottle. She soaked the 3,000 yuan Suzhou embroidered bedsheets. Martin Liu just laughed. Perfect. She have a baby brother soon. Infertility caught in my throat like a bone every week. Martin dragged me to the I used to visit the hospital for ovulation trigger injections. The nurses looked at me with pity. One of them whispered, "Mrs. Sandra, your husband's sperm looks just fine." I knew they called me the hen that lays no eggs behind my back. On New Year's Eve, 2000, Martin drunk lifted Willow above his head and slurred, "How about Daddy's little princess inheriting the family business?" I smashed my champagne flute. The shards in my foot hurt less than his words. The first time I saw Makoto, he was coaching a society matron on a Roman chair at the Weston Gym. At 24, his oil physique gleamed. His chest rose with the grace of a panther. "Madam, you need to fix your anterior pelvic tilt," he said. When his palm touched the small of my back, I caught the scent of cedar beneath his sweat. That day I bought 50 personal training sessions. My hand shook so badly I keyed in the wrong pin 3 times. During our first locker room tryst, he bit my ear and whispered, "Martin won't live past next Ancestors' Day." I clawed bloody furrows down his back. Blood and plaster dust filled my nails. It was sun showering the day Martin died. Makoto met me in the garage wearing surgical gloves as he adjusted the brake pads, a nameless oil smear on his collarbone like a snarling scar. "Once we get the inheritance, I'll take you to see the sea in Mauritius," he said, brushing rain from my lashes. When Martin's Mercedes-Benz S600 slammed into an oil tanker, I was in a boutique trying on morning clothes. Firefighters said the corpse had burned until only a platinum wedding ring remained. I slipped off my matching ring and dropped it into the men's room urinal at the gym. At Willow's 28th birthday banquet, I tucked Makoto's business card into her Louis Vuitton bag. A girl needs a peach-perfect booty if she wants men to dote on her, I said, personally swapping her into Lululemon yoga pants that cinch bruises into her waist. The surveillance feed caught Makoto pinning Willow against a spin bike while I was applying lipstick in a man-killer's shade. A stability ball ricocheted off the mirror, reflecting Makoto flipping the camera the bird. I let Willow join our game only because of George's fortune. I stared at the bedroom safe. His share certificates must be inside, while the window showed my calf taut under a silk keypao. 52 and still able to drive a man like Makoto crazy, thanks to more than just Bulgari Blue. "Are you really going this far?" Makoto asked behind me. Outside, torrential rain battered my son-in-law's brand new Mercedes. The dash cam's red LED blinked like the ECG line of Willow's father in his final moments. That wedding 5 years ago should have been the end. I still see George kneeling on the tulip aisle, the shoulders of his cheap suit wrinkled like a stray mutt. His father's hand trembled around a fake jade bangle, sweat blooming dark clouds on his lapels. Yet Willow clung to his arm and declared she'd marry no one else. After I met Makoto, money poured out of me like water. So I set my sights on George. Who could have guessed he'd strike it rich coating his way into I stared him. Better to let him disappear by accident. Makoto tested the waters. "How about a flyover crash?" My brake tampering fee has to count toward the inheritance. Willow's mouth twitched in terror. That was our first formal conspiracy. Holding Willow by the waist, Makoto demonstrated the brake failure model. "Kill with a borrowed knife," he said. "Make sure there's no whole corpse left." Yet when flames curled over the leather, seats Makoto and I occupied, I finally saw the good luck charm dangling from the rearview mirror, a photo of Willow and George on the back of her talisman. As the stench of burning flesh met my nose, I could hear Martin laughing. I lifted Makoto's fingernail clipping with a pair of tweezers and suddenly remembered the new polish he brushed on me a year ago. He'd been kneeling on one knee atop a yoga mat, fingers grazing my ankle as if by chance. "Miss Liu, your arch is exquisite," he'd murmured. That polish and Makoto himself were my birthday present from Mother, a diamond-level VIP card at the gym, personal trainer included. In the footage playing now, he sized up my body like he was unboxing a long-awaited parcel. "Your husband stares at code all day. How would he know real beauty?" Makoto said. Mother slid a Porsche key into the ignition. "Wear the backless dress I bought you for next week's gala." The cabin smelled of road to the underworld. Car fragrance Makoto gave me, its resinous incense base tangled with the cedar of his sweat. At a red light, He suddenly leaned over to fasten my seatbelt, his stubble grazing my collarbone, heartbeat racing. "Shall we check your body fat percentage?" he teased. I yielded and even begged him to spare George. In the end, Makoto's sweet talk broke me. I agreed to their plan. I never imagined the arrow we loosed would pierce Mother and Makoto instead. On the day traffic police called to claim the bodies, I wore Makoto's favorite man-killer lip glaze. Mother's diamond-tipped acrylic nails were still embedded in the steering wheel shards. Makoto's right hand clutched the severe brake line. The coroner tapped the report. Accident. Brake system eaten through by strong acid. I doubled over the counter and wrenched my mind a maelstrom. Never had I thought. Sandra and Makoto. Together? George laid divorce papers on the dining table beside a restored dashcam video. On screen, Sandra straightened Makoto's tie. "Once George is dead, we'll make Willow disappear too," she said. "She's not my child anyway. Then we'll take everything." I froze, learning I wasn't Sandra's daughter at all. From George's account, I discovered my own father had been murdered by Sandra and Makoto. While I scrubbed the floor tiles for the third time, George repotted succulents on the balcony, humming under noise-canceling headphones. The soil under his nails was fresher than the bruises on my knees. It was our 187th day of Cold War. He bought the little Haworthia Cooperative last month, saying, "Give it a bit of sun, and it shines unlike people who are never satisfied." "The duck soup's ready," I said, placing a clay pot on the table, so the scar on my wrist showed. I'd carved it on his birthday last week. The blood had dripped onto the cake like strawberry jam. Yet he'd never touched my tiramisu. Removing his headphones, he frowned. Some disinfectant splashed in the kitchen. His chopsticks poked at the dawn key and the broth-calming herbs I'd bought with his insurance card. Since he caught me slipping melatonin into his sports drink, he'd never eaten my cooking again. The soup went into the succulent pot. Sizzling fat singed its leaves. The bathroom mirror still bore the blood scrawl from 6 months ago. That night, he dragged me from a hotel room. I'd swallowed an entire bottle of antidepressants in front of him. Leaning on the doorframe, he'd film me, acting half-baked. "Swallow that slow, and the ambulance will beat the poison." I ended up gagging myself to vomit. He hadn't even flushed the toilet for me. Cold front tomorrow. "I put your sweater." I blocked his study doorway with a cashmere pullover. He was tweaking a new program, blue light glazing the nape he once let me mark with bruising kisses. "You're blocking the screen," he said, pushing me aside. Face colder than a polar night. Deep in the night, I squatted by the flower bed and ate dirt. The sour rot of humus was harsher than any medicine. Beneath the newly planted peony lay a dead stray. George said last month its mating yowls ruined his coding flow. Clods jammed in my throat. I suddenly recalled his proposal, his promise to take me to Iceland for volcanic rock cuisine. "Having fun?" George asked, flashlight blinding my eyes. Ash dusted his pajamas. He must have been burning incense for Sandra. But choked my apology. He knelt, stuffing aquarium pumice into my mouth. "Lava stone purges better than bonsai soil," he said. I sat in the shower for 4 hours. My skin pruned, yet the earth stench.